Tom has a terrific question about recounting a true crime story from a long time ago. Hi, I'm attorney Gordon Firemark, and this is Asked and Answered, where I answer your entertainment law questions to help you take your career and business to the next level. Okay, here's Tom's question. I'm finishing my first draft on a true story about the murders of 4 of my family members 66 years ago, and the transcripts of the trial can't be found here in Jackson, Mississippi. Can I fictionalize the trial, jury room, names of unknown and probably not alive participants, activities, and dialogue in my inspired by a true story screenplay? The outcome of the trial is all I can find in a 1950 Life magazine article with pictures. This is a forgotten historical event, and it will add a refresher chapter to our national history. Well, this is a little sticky. I would counsel caution when fictionalizing things involving real people and events. At very least, be sure you're not making false statements about living people that would cause damage to their reputations. That's what we call defamation, libel when it's recorded or filmed, and slander when it's spoken one-to-one. Now, if you recreate a scene but inadvertently get some facts wrong, but there's no harm, well, you're probably okay. But incorrectly saying a person was on the jury when he or she wasn't, or vice versa, could be troublesome, especially if the story suggests some wrongdoing or error by the jury, for example. Now, of course, anyone can sue anybody over anything at all. So you want to provide them with as little ammunition as possible by taking whatever steps you can to assure that the account you present is as truthful as it can be. Document your sources for everything you can. The best practice for this kind of thing is to have 2 or 3 sources for each fact and to annotate the script with those as footnotes. 66 years is a good long time, but some of those folks may still be alive. I'd suggest tracking them down and interviewing them. Get them to cooperate if possible. And get them to sign a release as well. Now, when you get into using people's names and likenesses and personas, you're talking about either the right of publicity or the right of privacy. The right of publicity is recognized in about half of the US states, as well as some foreign countries. This is the right of a person to control any kind of commercial uses of his or her name, likeness, or persona. In some places, that even covers look-alike and sound-alike performances, believe it or not. But remember I said commercial uses. Now here, you're talking about telling a story. It's a narrative, and it's based on true events, so there's an element of newsworthiness and a public interest in the material being given some exposure. And you're not selling a product or a service or suggesting that the people in question are endorsing anything. So I think the right of publicity is pretty unlikely to be an issue. But rights of privacy might be a bit trickier. For example, if a person was 66 years ago a notorious figure in the community, but since then they've led a quiet, respectable life, retelling the story might constitute an invasion of their privacy under a theory we call public disclosure of private embarrassing facts. Now, generally speaking, these kinds of cases come down to whether a reasonable person would find that the rehashing of things is highly offensive after so many years. So I'd say you want to be cautious here. Now, you also want to make sure you're not presenting people in a false light, again, in a way that would be highly offensive to the average reasonable member of the public. But the bottom line is this: I would finish writing the script and then get someone objective to go through and highlight every situation where someone's reputation might be injured or one of these other issues might be involved. Then determine whether that person is still living and whether that reputation is really in jeopardy. And if so, get them to cooperate and sign a life rights release or something like that. Now, it's a good idea to have a lawyer do a full script clearance review to alert you to any potential trouble spots and provide you with the strategies and the documents you need to reduce or eliminate those risks. Finally, find out what happened to those court records. If a whole bunch of records were destroyed, well, that's one thing. Maybe there was a flood or a fire or something. But if it's only this case's record that's missing, that raises some interesting additional questions, and it might make a really interesting postscript to your film. Well, that about does it for this edition of Asked and Answered. If you have a question for me, just visit firemark.com/questions and let me know. I'll see you next time.